Okay, welcome everybody to this March 2020 edition of the TDL Member Forum. I'm so glad that everyone has joined us today. My name is Kristi Park. I'm the director of the Texas Digital Library, for those of you who don't know me. And I'm joined as usual by Courtney Muma, our deputy director, and Leah DeForest, our communications manager. Also for this forum, Alex Suarez, our administrative associate, as well as a member of our community who will share some announcements. This is our agenda for today, and it looks at first glance like a pretty normal agenda for our forum, but we are living through anything but normal times right now. So I want to start today by acknowledging some of the challenges we're all facing. We're going to spend some time at the top of the meeting today talking about how TDL is responding to the current crisis and some steps that we're taking, but we'll also spend some time giving a few service and community updates as we usually do. And we'll finish with some time, I hope, for Q&A. A couple of reminders as we start. If you have questions at any point, or anything to share at all, please feel free to use the chat window over on the left-hand side of the screen. You also have the ability to download the slides in the Files pod in the bottom of the screen. And as I said, we are recording this, so you'll be able to access it on the TDL YouTube channel later on after we've had a chance to get it captioned. Okay. So I want to talk with you for a few minutes about how TDL is continuing operations during the current COVID-19 pandemic. As a community, we're obviously going through some very challenging times, and we're upending a lot of normal routines and processes to go online and stay home and protect our health, but also to carry on in supporting the important work of our institutions and instruction for our students. So I want to start by acknowledging the hard work of our staff here at TDL and all of you in our community who are making these transitions happen. You are all doing great, and I hope you're all also taking care of yourselves and each other alongside taking care of the needs of your university communities. A few things about TDL going forward. All of our staff are working remotely full-time as of last Friday, and going through, well, we said formally until April 3rd, but that date will no doubt be extended. We are already, our staff is already widely distributed across Texas and Kansas, so we're used to working online and across distances. And even our Austin-based crew work from home a few days a week. So we were well positioned to make this move, and it should not impact routine service maintenance. There should be no disruption in services as a result of it. I have asked our technology staff to refocus their efforts on essential services, keeping our repositories and scholarly communication services and digital preservation services running smoothly and responding to user requests. We want to make sure that during stressful times on all of our campuses that we can meet your immediate needs effectively. And we're also acknowledging that during this time of disruption with kids at home and family obligations taking time and emotional energy, that we'll likely experience some decrease in productivity. I'm guessing most of you have experienced this for yourselves in the last couple of weeks. So we want to keep it simple for ourselves and focus our attention on what's most important, which is keeping services and content secure, available, and functional, and maintaining our contact with our communities. That means, in practice, that our development staff are helping more with our Helpdesk tickets, for example. It also means that some new development projects may experience delays, so we're still working through, what that means, and we'll know more about it as we progress. So for you, you should continue to contact us for help and support through our Helpdesk and other channels whenever and wherever you need it, and we will do our best to support you. The second big step we've taken, as I'm sure you're aware, is canceling the upcoming Texas Conference on Digital Libraries and the associated TDL Leadership Academy. This was a tough decision, and we worked with our planning committee and our partners over the last couple of weeks, developing contingency plans should we be forced to cancel, and it became pretty clear to us late last week that we needed to take this step, both to protect the health of our members and attendees and to signal our commitment to public health measures limiting travel and in-person contact. So if you had already registered, you will receive a 100% refund. You may have already received it. We're also refunding all of our sponsorships and have been in contact with all the relevant stakeholders to make sure that they're aware of these changes. We've also made the decision with our committee not to reschedule this year's in-person meeting. We will be back on track next year, and we'll look forward to a return to form for TCDL in the spring of 2021. We've also decided not to try to convert TCDL into a virtual or online conference. TDL does a lot of its work online, obviously, and in fact, you'll hear some later on today about some of the webinars and meetings that are already scheduled. But the specialness of TCDL is in the chance for all of us to come together in person, and we decided as a community that it would be very difficult to recreate that dynamic through a virtual event, and that the complexity of converting a multi-track conference to something online with this little time remaining would not result in the event that we want for all of you. So we will be back on track next year, and we'll miss seeing all of you this year. That said, we are going to go forward with a few TCDL-related activities. We'll, for instance, be announcing the winners of the TDL Awards, and we'll find a great way to honor those winners in an online event, so stay tuned for updates on that. We're also looking at some ways that we could invite some of our invited speakers from TCDL to work with us in developing a webinar or webinar series. And we'll be working with our user groups to reschedule any planned in-person business meetings that were to be held at TCDL. So stay tuned for announcements around all of those things as we continue our planning. If you have any questions or suggestions about any of this, please do contact us. You can hit us up in chat right now or find us at any time after the meeting. And as I wrap up this slide, I do want to take a minute to say some special heartfelt thank yous to a number of folks for going above and beyond in planning the program for this year's conference and in helping us with the work of canceling it. First off, on our staff, Leah DeForest, our communications manager, and Alex Suarez, our conference planner, who just have done a fantastic job in planning, but also in helping us develop messaging around the cancellation and getting that messaging out on our website, through our email channels, contacting folks, and doing all the work of, reaching out to hotels and event venues and all of the work that's involved in setting up those contracts and getting them canceled. It's a lot of work, and I really appreciate their efforts over the last week and the coming weeks in doing that. I also want to thank Marcia McIntosh, the chair of our planning committee, and Shelley Barba, the vice chair, for their help and support in planning the conference and in working with us to, and being so supportive in our decision to cancel it this year. That same sentiment goes out to all the members of the committee, who I'll read their names very briefly. John Cosno from UT Southwestern Medical, Taylor Davis Van Otta from University of Houston, Taylor Fairweather from West Texas A&M, Lindsay Ford from U of H Clear Lake, Ramona Holmes from the UNT Health Science Center, Jarrell Jones from the University of Houston, Mark Phillips from UNT, Rachel Winston from the Benson Latin American Collection at UT Austin, and Amanda Zarang from Texas Women's University. So thanks to all of you for your efforts this year, and and for your support as we made a kind of difficult decision. And thanks for your question. Is there any way we can individually or as an organization contribute to support TDL? Well, that's a great question. We appreciate that. So I think in terms of continuing operations, we're doing great, and we're well set up to continue that. I do have some thoughts that I'll share in a second about how we can kind of maybe figure out as a community how we can support each other and work together. And we're open to any suggestions. So we have all of our user group meetings and committee meetings that will continue online, and we'll be working through those to hear from you, and you can hear from us about ways that we can support each other. I want to also just highlight, that we're not the only ones canceling events. We've compiled a list here that have canceled or postponed, which you can refer to. And I want to highlight a message from the State Library that's linked to at the bottom of this slide about how they're preparing for the crisis. And there's a link there to a Twitter thread that's tracking Archives Conference cancellations as well. So I know that we're all staying informed about all of these things, and we'll keep each other informed as we go through it. We also want to highlight a statement released by the International Coalition of Library Consortia, of which TDL is a member. The statement on the global COVID-19 pandemic and its impact on library services and resources was written on behalf of the many library consortia across the world that participate in ICOLC and the individual libraries these consortia represent. It's intended to help publishers and other content providers from whom we license electronic information resources and purchase printed content, understand better how the current pandemic affects the worldwide information community. And it also suggests a range of approaches that ICOLC believes are in the mutual best interest of libraries and providers of information services. TDL has signed on to endorse this statement. Though TDL does not engage in e-resource licensing and print acquisition as many other ICOLC members do, we think it's important to show solidarity with our fellow consortia and with our member libraries who are navigating through this time. So you can read and download that full statement by clicking on the link in the slide if you wish to. Finally, we know that lots of folks are working from home, and it may be a new experience for many of you. We also know this is just kind of a stressful and maybe isolating time working from home, and we want to provide a little bit of work-related socializing, if you will. So we're going to try something new, and we hope you'll try it with us. Starting next Wednesday, we're going to hold a weekly online hangout. We'll be on staff, some group of us will be online from 1 to 2 on Wednesdays, and we invite you to bring your lunch or your after-lunch coffee or whatever you have and just hang out with us for however long you want to. You can come late or leave early. There will be no agenda. We will be available to answer questions if you have them. We can talk about, tips for working from home or conducting online meetings. That's something that we have some experience with. Or we can just vent about the frustrations we're facing and be there for each other. No agenda. We just want to have this time available if you want to come hang out with us and see your colleagues from TDL or from other institutions across the state. We have a Zoom meeting set up for this. There's a URL there on the slide, but we'll also be sending out an invitation to the members so you can put it on your calendars if you're interested. I do hope many of you will join us. We'll see how it goes, and I think it'll be fun. All right. We'll move into some more normal updates now on services and projects, and we'll start with just an update on our OJS upgrades. You can see a kind of status of where we are with our 86 hosted journals moving through the upgrade process. We are continuing with this. We're upgrading all of our journals to OJS version 3, and we've completed 36. This chart shows 33 with 3 in progress, but those in progress ones are also upgraded as of today. So we've got 36 completed and another 17 that we've identified that need to sunset. So we're more than halfway through. We have taken a pause to troubleshoot the journals that we've already migrated as we experienced some issues with character encodings in the migration, and also surfaced some issues with the journals sending out emails. We've made a lot of progress on those issues, implementing a new email solution that should prevent more system emails from getting caught in spam filters, and also tweaking some of our scripts and processes to improve the character encoding and the way characters are getting migrated. We've also spent some time in the last week working to eliminate spam users that had accumulated in the old journals. We've implemented new and better CAPTCHA on the new OJS 3 journals to prevent the creation of spam users going forward, but we're doing some remediation on the old user databases to get that cleaned up. So we'll be proceeding with the next set of migrations very soon as we continue to tweak some trouble spots with the previously upgraded journals. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Leah, who's going to give us some updates on our newly minted Open Textbook Network membership and OER support services.
Hi everyone, good morning. This is Leah DeForest, Communications Manager with Texas Digital Library. I'm really happy to see you all here today. Thanks for joining us. I wanted to thank everyone who attended our OTN Workshop earlier this month, Tuesday, March 3rd. The Open Textbook Network folks delivered some really critical content for us, helping us learn how to better engage faculty and administration on our campuses. I hope those of you who were at the workshop found it as informative as I did. I know I learned a lot from the OTN facilitators as well as through our group discussions. And that day and afterwards, I've heard very positive feedback from many attendees. And so I do hope that at our next workshop, which, barring the spread of this pandemic, we're shooting for fall 2020, and more detail to come on that. And I also want to extend a very special thank you to our hosts. The folks at UTSA Libraries did a great job hosting us, and if you ever have a chance to work with those people, go for it, because they really make life easy and the food is delicious. And I especially want to thank Deanne Ivy and Kayla De La Garza there for making this event a huge success. So yeah, stay tuned for another OTN workshop, hopefully sometime this fall. And a second OER announcement, I'm excited to announce a save the date for another OER event, Open Texas 2020. So TDL is collaborating with our partners at Digitex, or the Higher Education Consortium of Texas. We're working on coordinating an annual event that will be similar to the Texas OER Summit of 2018, if you attended that, and if you attended the Open Education Texas event last summer in 2019. It'd be kind of similar to that with breakout sessions, keynotes, etc. So this Open Texas event is we're still really in the very beginning stages of planning it, but we have secured hosts through Houston Community College and the University of Houston downtown. We have dates and a location. Dates are October 1st and 2nd, 2020, and the location will be at the UH downtown campus in Houston, Texas. So, like I said, we're really just getting started on this project. We'll have a lot more details to share soon, including a link to register, etc. So stay tuned for that. And I think that's it for me, and so now I'll hand it back over to Kristi.
Thanks, Leah. I have one more service update for you before we go into community business, and that is just a note that you should, if you aren't planning to already, plan to attend the next DSpace user group meeting, which will be Tuesday, March 24th at 10 a.m. Central. We're going to have a special presentation at that meeting of some opportunities for integrating digital preservation services into your DSpace repositories. So Courtney Muma, our Deputy Director, and also our digital preservation expert on staff, is going to be presenting about what is known in DSpace as the DSpace Replication Task Suite, which is a set of services in DSpace that allow you to replicate DSpace content into digital preservation storage that we have set up. So if you're interested in digitally preserving content in your DSpace repositories, this is something that you need to hear about and learn about, and we hope you'll join us for that. Okay, so we'll transition into community updates. And I'm going to start with a reminder about the self-assessment that TDL has undertaken related to these good practice principles for scholarly communication services. Over the past year, TDL embarked on an internal discussion using these principles to assess our own service offerings, governance, and operations. And we're inviting you to take a few minutes to review our findings and add your comments. The link is here on the slide to this document, and you can make comments in it. The deadline to comment is April 1st, and we'll review your feedback and publish the final report on our website this summer. We do hope that you'll take a look at it and let us know what you think and what questions you have. So next, I'm going to hand it to Ann Washington from the University of Houston to give us some information about an exciting project that she's been working on. Ann, take it away.
Hello. Sounds like y'all can hear me. So thanks for inviting me. The book, I'm a co-author on a book, Linked Data for the Perplexed Librarian by Scott Carlson, Corey Lampert, Darnell Melvin, and I. Just came out last month. I'm going to pop a few links in the chat. It's at the ALA store, and our goal with this book was to make learning about linked data as accessible as possible. Linked data will continue to be a subject of discussion and work, and what we wanted to do was demystify it as much as possible by using fun examples and plain language. We want people to be excited by the possibilities of linked data, and we hope that by learning and understanding more, they can become part of linked data conversations and projects. So this is really aimed at the non-expert, again, trying to make it as accessible as possible. I thought I'd also promote that the American Library Association, Association for Library Collections and Technical Services, New Members Interest Group, is hosting a read-along webinar, and me and the other authors will join for Q&A, and that's going to be in April 20th, 1 p.m. Central. I'll put a link to that event information. Oh, I guess it didn't turn into a link, but so again, thanks to TDL for letting me promote this, and I hope folks will take a read. If you have any questions or want to talk more about it, feel free to get in touch. I'm going to pop my email address into the chat as well.
Thank you so much, Ann. This is really exciting, and thanks for sharing this information and opportunities to learn more about it. I think that we're going to continue with our community updates, so I'm going to turn it over to Alex Suarez, our Administrative Associate and conference planner to take us through some of those. Alex?
Thanks, Kristi. And thanks so much, Anne. This is Alex, the Admin Associate over at TDL. I just wanted to remind everybody that our next Topics in Research Data Management webinar is Friday, April 3rd at 1 p.m. Central Time. And that's going to be with Sebastian Karcher of the Qualitative Data Repository. Feel free to follow the link that's on the slide to go ahead and register and look up some more information about that webinar. We also have another webinar coming up with New York Public Library, and that's going to be with Greg Tam. And this session is designed to empower you to feel more confident about copyright and digitization of collections. You'll learn the fundamentals of copyright law, including the duration of protection for both published and archival items. The session will also cover fair use and other limitations. You will hear about how rights metadata can help manage large repositories of digitized works and help users understand how those items can be used to create new information, new aesthetics, new insights, and understandings. Finally, this session will review how a library digitized and used two collections in furtherance of its mission, despite ambiguous copyright status and ownership of the items. Many thanks to Susan Elkins, the chair of the DSpace Training and Education Group, for connecting TDL with Greg. And you could go ahead and look up some more information about this webinar on our website as well. Then a final reminder, we'd like to remind you to please take a look at our Capstone project surveys that we have. We are working with a Capstone student to gather information about our community skills for a directory to help facilitate collaboration on future projects. The directory will be searchable through the TDL website. Please take a few minutes to fill out our brief survey if you would like to be included. You will be asked to list any skills that you will be willing to share with others, and the purpose of this directory is to connect members of the TDL community. You only need to provide information, including contact information, that you're comfortable having made online. Having made available online. The digitization survey on the right-hand side of the slide will help us create a more complete picture of the digitization needs and goals of TDL's member institutions. The information gathered by the survey will be used in the creation of a lab location tool to help TDL member institutions and other interested parties to connect with digitization service providers across the state. The survey will also attempt to identify hidden collections within member repositories that could benefit from digitization grants or partnerships. We'll keep both these surveys open until next week, so please take a few minutes to participate in these two pretty important projects, and they're going to be a pretty huge help to TDL and our members. And yeah, that's it for me. Back to you, Kristi.
Great, thank you, Alex. So we have a little bit of time, a minute or so left, if there are any questions. If you do have questions or thoughts, please feel free to use the chat window to ask those. And we'll hang out for a bit and see if there are any questions. Well, as we wrap up, I'll just reiterate that we hope you'll join us next Wednesday to hang out a little bit and chat. We'll be sending out an invitation for that TDL hangout after this call, and we hope we'll see you there. We will wrap up for the day, but I will just send our best wishes to all of you. Hang on, we've got a question from Bruce. Does anybody think having a web meeting on Friday to talk about library support of online teaching? That's okay, Bruce. Well, we'll throw it out there. Are there others interested in talking about that? Would that be helpful? Yeah, so I'm just watching the chat happening, and this is all good. I think that we could reach out and see if we can coordinate something Friday. I think that our hope is that the weekly hangouts will surface some of these needs for conversations, and we can have some of them. But it seems like there might be some interest in holding something sooner rather than later to just have a discussion about this. So let me get my team together here, and we can put out a call for finding time to do this. Does that sound good? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out, Bruce, to you, and we'll get something on the calendar that works for you, and then we can put out a call, and you all can communicate with your relevant library folks to see who would be able and interested in attending. Okay, thank you, Bruce, for bringing that up. That is a great area for discussion, and we'll be happy to support it. Okay, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you, everybody. Reach out to us if you have other ideas or other suggestions for us. We want to hear them, and we want to be here to support y'all. So take care of yourselves, and we will talk again soon. Bye-bye.